The time is now 5:30. We're going to start.
Thank you, Jordan. We'll now call to order the January 23rd, 2026 Board of Education special meeting. Thank you all for attending this meeting of the board. I would like to remind you that school board meetings in Nebraska are meetings held in public, not public meetings. During the public comment section, the public may address the board on agenda items and other miscellaneous topics. All right. At this time, can we get roll call, please?
Mitch Wagner, Joanne Lundgreen,
Present.
Emily Garrick,
Present.
Cindy O'Connor, Skip Altig,
Present.
Angela Blasey.
I would at this time call for a motion to excuse Cindy O'Connor. She could not make it as she is out of the country at the moment.
Make a motion to excuse Cindy O'Connor.
Second.
Okay, Jordan?
Joanne Lundgreen,
Aye.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Skip Altig,
Aye.
Angela Blasey,
Aye.
Mitch Wagner.
All right, we'll start this evening with our mission statement. North Platte Public Schools is a destination school district and community that embraces innovative opportunities and distinguished programs to create highly competitive advantages for all students, instilling the canteen spirit in an evolving world. The canteen spirit embodies generosity, selflessness, and unwavering support through service, pride, collaboration, and grit. All right, the Nebraska Open Meetings Act legislates the methods by which public meetings are conducted. Information pertaining to this act is located here in the boardroom, if you would like some reading material. At this time, I would now entertain a motion to approve the publication of the January 23rd, 2026 special meeting of the Board of Education.
Make a motion to approve the publication of the January 23rd, 2026 special meeting of the Board of Education.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Jordan, roll call, please.
Skip Altig,
Aye.
Angela Blasey,
Aye.
Mitch Wagner, Joanne Lundgreen,
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
Okay, motion passes. And at this time, I would now entertain a motion to approve the agenda for the January 23rd, 2026 special meeting of the Board of Education.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for the January 23rd, 2026 special meeting of the Board of Education.
Second. Give it to you. Second.
I think Joanne had that one. Thank you. Okay, and roll call, please, on that, Jordan.
Angela Blasey,
Aye.
Mitch Wagner, Joanne Lundgreen, Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Skip Altig.
Aye.
Okay, at this time, please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will open this meeting with public comment. Public questions and comments may take place at this time in the agenda. Individuals who want to address the board must complete a guidelines for public comments form with the date, topic addressing, name, address, and the name of any organization you represent, and give it to the board clerk or our substitute for the night, Jordan, prior to the meeting. When called upon by the presiding officer, the individual shall proceed to the table up front here, state your name and your address. An individual may not exceed 5 minutes, and total time for all individuals who want to speak shall not exceed 30 minutes unless a majority vote of the board approves extending the allocated time. This time for public comment shall not be used to address specific individual student discipline or employee performance issues. Complaint and grievance processes are in place to deal with issues of this nature. All right, Jordan, who do we have?
Shreya Agarwal.
Did I say that right?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. My name is Shreya Agarwal. I live on 380 East Sagebrush Drive. I want to start by just saying how amazed I am by the number of people that are in this room. What that tells me is these people are sending a very clear message. This is an important meeting. The public cares about what happens to our school district, and they care about what happens to our superintendent. So here's the thing, people are very observant. People notice patterns. They pay attention to how decisions are made, and they care whether public processes are being followed in a way that builds trust. For this board, you signed the code of conduct last week. You do it every single year. I'm gonna read 3 things from there that are really important today. You agree to render all decisions based on the available facts and your independent judgment. And you refuse to surrender that judgment to individuals or special interest groups, and that means each other. You refrain from discussing the confidential business of the board in any setting except a board meeting. And you refrain from micromanaging the affairs of the school district. So that's something everybody agreed to. The patterns that many of us here are noticing in some of the current meetings and the decisions that have been made here, not all members here are adhering to these specific code of conduct. It seems that members are talking outside the board meeting. They're deciding how they're going to vote beforehand. They are showing up and not paying attention to what is actually said in this room. They're not independently thinking, and they're voting as a block. It is very obvious during the appointment of the recent board member. It was obvious during the budget conversation, and it was obvious during the censorship of a fellow board member. These patterns are eroding public trust. Trust matters, processes matters, not because policies require it. It's because our community deserves to understand how and why decisions are being made. There is a very clear pattern of pre-decisions outside of public meeting happening between board members. Some might call it collusion. And in a world of personal emails and text messages, it's kind of hard to prove that. But people are noticing, people are showing up, and they're making sure that the board members here are for the students and not for their own personal agenda. Members of this board are letting this district run to the ground. When this board is using tax dollars to pay interest on a loan because the district cannot make payroll, that's a problem. You need to be fixing budgets, not going at each other. Some members have made this board into such a toxic and dysfunctional board that there isn't a lot of work that actually can be done. People are noticing, we're showing up, and we want to make sure that our schools are stronger for it. Dr. Rhodes isn't here, but he's watching. I just wanted to tell him, I am truly sorry that you're having to deal with this board over the last few years. The level of disrespect that certain people have for you, it's really obvious in every single board meeting, and no one should have to come to work every single day and deal with that. I appreciate everything that you have done for the school district. Your leadership has allowed for better collaboration amongst the district and the school leaders and has brought really good thinking and protocol. We saw that from the scores. Since you've been here in the last 3 years, there has been a positive increase in our scores in this district, and that has a lot to do with you. We need a strong public school system to have a strong city, and we've seen Dr. Rhodes work really hard to be able to do that. My hope is by the end of this meeting today, this board starts to dedicate itself back to its code of conduct, to have thoughtful public deliberations in this room instead of private conversations that leads to decisions outside this room, so that staff, families, and the broader community can start trusting the school board again. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya.
Brittany McDaniel.
My name is Brittany McDaniel, and I live at 1518 West 3rd. I'm a 2004 graduate of this district. I chose this town as home when I moved back in 2009. And as a parent, I choose NPPS as a district. In my first draft of my comments, I listed off some 25 students that have changed my life, and you can have a copy if you would like. Kids that impacted me in ways I could never imagine. It was just a short list, obviously not comprehensive at all. I scribbled it on a piece of scratch paper while waiting for some macaroni and cheese to boil on the stove the other night. And I teach general education classes. I don't have a ton of students that you might consider to be at risk, high needs, or any other label you might add to it in the educational buzzword world we live in. I stood before you tonight to speak about what is right and best for our students. I'm just a teacher, trying to do my best in a district where staffing is tight and money is tighter. Members of the school board, I beg you, I plead with you, please stop. Find a way to work together. Find a way to stop making this your own personal battleground for how public education has wronged you in the past, or whatever personal vendetta you have against this community and this district, and figure out how to make it better, because what you're doing right now isn't working. And North Platte is watching. Frankly, Nebraska is watching. Teachers, both old and new, who are looking for new positions, are being told by professors and friends alike to avoid this district like the plague because of how scary it is to be an educator in this district due to the toxic nature of this board. Teacher friends across the state are reaching out to us and asking if people in North Platte are okay because they're seeing board behavior in the news. Families are sending their children to other communities because they're tired of it. They're not tired of the teachers. They're not tired of building or district admin. They are tired of the divisive nature of this board and how you are all treating individuals in the district and the community. As a parent, I'm very worried about my children's teachers because I see firsthand how burned out they are, how worn down they have become because they're spending their own money on expo markers and Kleenexes and absolute bare necessities for their students and their classrooms month after month because they know the budget is in the negative times infinity. As a teacher, I'm tired of being blamed by this board for more things while being required to do more things with constant reminders that there are no subs and no money for classroom supplies and we're struggling to hire anyone, all while we watch this board month after month after month argue over what color jeans we should wear and how nothing we as teachers and educators can do is ever right or ever enough. And you just sit here and gang up on each other and fight and never think about what is best for the students and teachers and the people of this community. And all we focus on is how we can lower taxes without any forethought of what that would do to our budget and our community. As educators, we sit in a fair amount of professional development with lots of motivational speakers. And one of the buzz things they always say is we are frequently reminded to remember our why. I've never forgot mine. I need you to remember yours today. Remember that you were elected to make all of this better, to help our school districts or help our schools move to the next level, to take this district to become a destination district. So do that. Do better. Be better. Find the canteen spirit that embodies generosity, selflessness, and unwavering support through service, pride, collaboration, and grit. Strive to be remembered for the good you did for this district and our community instead of your current legacy of divisiveness, bullying, greed, pride, and hatred.
Maggie Butler,
Say thank you to Dr. Chavez.
That it? Okay. Thank you all for your comments. All right, at this time, our first agenda item past our public comment is to consider and possibly accept the superintendent's resignation. So Dr. Todd Rhodes did tender his resignation earlier last week. And so prior to taking this motion, the board is going to move into closed session. Those are personnel related conversations. So at this time, I would entertain our motion to move into closed session, please.
I move pursuant to section 84-1410 of the reissue and the revised statutes of 1992, known as the Nebraska Public Meetings Law, that the board hold a closed session with the board and legal counsel for the purpose of discussion of the following items: personnel matters. I further move that this closed session is clearly necessary for the protection of the public interest and for the prevention of needless injury to the reputation of an individual, and that strategy sessions with respect to real estate litigation and collective bargaining are specifically authorized by the Nebraska Public Meetings Law.
A second.
I'll second.
Thank you. All right, Jordan, roll call, please.
Joanne Lundgreen,
Aye.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Skip Altick,
Aye.
Angela Blazey,
Aye.
Mitch Wagner.
Okay. You are all certainly welcome to stay here. We will be going to another room down the hallway and we will be back when we come out of closed session. Okay. Jordan, the board came out of closed session at 7:09. All right, and at this time, before any further public discussion, I would like to have a motion on the table. So at this time, I would entertain a motion in regards to this agenda item, please.
I would move that we accept the resignation of Todd Rhodes. Effective June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, opening this up for discussion, of course, respecting the personnel sensitive issues that we cannot necessarily discuss publicly, but the board does want to just kind of fill in some blanks here. Obviously, we were in closed session for a long time and we appreciated hearing from all of you and the fact that you stayed. So thank you for that. So in regards to this, Dr. Rhodes did submit his resignation. That resignation is not effective immediately or anything along those lines. That was done separately to other agenda items and submitted to me last Wednesday, and then I think officially on Thursday. So this motion on the table is simply to acknowledge his wishes, which would be to resign at the end of this school year. And so that's the motion that's on the table. Is there any discussion from the board that you would like to say prior to voting on this?
I think, I think a lot of us were surprised with this resignation, and very saddened by it.
Hey,
Right.
Angela, can I get you to lean in? Yeah.
A lot of us, we're very surprised with this resignation and saddened to see it. This is definitely not what our district wants. Obviously, from the people here, we all love Dr. Rhodes, and hopefully we can show him our support, and you know, maybe he'll want to rescind this resignation. Maybe.
I think one of the things that I would like to acknowledge, and we have discussed now privately, but I'm going to put it out there publicly, is that we do acknowledge that there have been some things at the board level, relationship wise, that haven't been great. And it's definitely something that needs to change. And I think we're going to continue to work to see if we can find a way forward. I think that there definitely is a way forward. As many of the people in this audience even have shown us that there's, you know, you don't necessarily have to like the people that you're working with every day, but you have to work with them and you have to find a way to figure that out. And so that's something that we're hoping to do, because obviously we don't want to put the school district in a position where we're having a new superintendent every 2 to 3 years. It's not healthy for the teachers. It's not healthy for any of the staff. It's definitely not healthy for the kids to have everybody in a state of where they just don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. And so I know I'm committed to it, and I feel like everybody else is too. And so hopefully we can get that figured out.
Okay. And I would like to just acknowledge publicly, we appreciate the concern that was brought here this evening, and I'm not sure what the story circulating surrounding this was, but I do want to clear any misconceptions that might be out there that this resignation was requested. Because it was not. This came from Dr. Rhodes, and this is his wishes to be done at the end of this school year. So that is what we're taking action on. Any conversations outside of this or on further agenda items are separate conversations that will be addressed separately, and how we figure out to move forward and finish out this school year. But I think that that's an important thing that we clarify in this situation, is that this was his request. There will be further conversations on making sure that the district is in a great place moving forward. I think that we have a lot of wonderful things in place. I know we're all very excited about, our strategic plan, and I think we have a lot of wonderful staff members. So I just think that that's very important that we acknowledge the district is going to continue to be strong. This is the resignation that was submitted to us, and we want to honor that request and accept it effective June 30th.
Yeah, I believe, we are not happy that he has turned in his resignation whatsoever because of all the great things, excuse me, that have occurred here since he has come. But his wishes are to resign at the end of the year, and I respect those wishes.
All right, any further discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none. Jordan, roll call, please.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Skip Altig,
Aye.
Angela Blazy, Mitch Wagner, Joanne Lundgren.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. At this time, the board is going to discuss our next agenda item. So this is a discussion surrounding electronic records access, Google Vault use, and policy 3023 specifically, which is attached there for you. There are some adjacent policies that there may be questions about, so you are certainly welcome to discuss those as long as they fall within our electronic records access and Google Vault use. So what the board is going to be taking some look at here, through a series of events, we became aware of the use of Google Vault, which is a system that stores all of our Google data. So that could be emails, that could be documents, that could be anything within that Google account. So it is important that the district maintain those records in the instance of something being required in a court case, something being required in a public records request. There would be a series of reasons that the district would need to access this data. The way that our policy is currently written, it basically states that our domain administrator and designees would have access to this. So what that potentially creates is a situation where any of those staff members that have that access can actually openly search any district email, student, staff, board, anything. And currently we do not have any parameters on that, which means that those that have access can, without other language, essentially see your entire inbox. That could be drafts, that could be documents, that could be things that were sent to you in a confidential manner, that could be things that you have sent. And at a board level, that is concerning that those emails would be accessed without having some parameters in place on how to do that. Reasoning one for that would be potential things like contract negotiations or other things that the board is involved in that could be compromised. Other things are just through our chain of command. The board is where certain levels of concerns need to come to, and for the sake of those individuals, sometimes those things do need to remain anonymous. And while as board members, we are subject, of course, to public record requests, I think we all understand that when we send an email, of course, it could be screenshot and put on the internet, or it could be requested at any point. That being said, there are certain things that deserve a certain level of privacy. And even if they were to become a public records request, there would be information that would be deducted or redacted from those things in order to protect somebody. So the concern was brought to me. This is the policy that addresses that. The policy is extremely vague. And so the reason that this is being brought to the board is so that we can address it from a policy level. That is how the board operates. That is our role in the district, is to set policies that are in the best interest of the district and upholding our integrity in the way that things go here. So that's what this policy is about. I would like to open it to discussion from the board on not necessarily having all the answers tonight, but maybe having questions about what would be appropriate use, how often this is used, what we would like that process to look like as far as documenting when and how and by whom it is used, those types of things, so that moving forward in the future, at one of our upcoming board meetings, the board may take a look at revising this policy to better protect the district from those types of situations. So having that being said, and some context there, we are not able to speak about specific situations in this, but I would like to keep this at a policy level discussion. Questions, comments, how we would like to see this moving forward.
I think one of the things that I would like to see, it's not a common practice, at least in Nebraska. But I have looked into it, and there are other places that do have board specific policies as far as electronic communication. And I think that is the direction I would like to see us go with this. Just because even our policy 4012, which is regarding staff electronic communications, when this issue came to light, I think there was some confusion as to where exactly the board fell within the issue. So that's what I would like to have us look into, maybe talk to our legal counsel, and just kind of see what options might be available. I also think it would help board members to understand the responsibilities that they carry under the federal law as well as under the state law, if it was specific to the board. And we do have policies, that are specific to the board.
Okay.
How
I-
many?
Go
sorry.
ahead, Angela.
How many people have access to that?
I think that would be a question we'd probably need to confirm for sure with our technology director. My understanding is right now that's at least 4 individuals in our district that have that access. That I am aware of, but that doesn't mean that there wouldn't be additional access out there. So probably a conversation that we need to have is how many is an appropriate number of individuals to have access? Should that be limited to the technology department? And if there's a request, it goes through them, or really what we want that to look like. I personally think 4 is probably too many. I think that if there is a need and a legal justification for accessing somebody's entire email, there should be a pretty well outlined process of what that looks like. Yes.
I think the idea is our policy is actually kind of a very gray area. And we need to make that more specific and clean that up so it is more black and white. Which we can't do, but we can look into. And as Joanne said, we can look into maybe even adding more to it. That's what we will have to do, and that will be in the future, however.
Another consideration would be language, especially around board emails, that could recommend that a member of the board leadership team, probably the president, would be, made aware that this was going to happen before it happened. And then also that way some reasoning could be given behind it. I do think we need to be careful that we're not tying our administrators' hands in the work that they need to do. And so hopefully that's something that we can have conversations with Dr. Rhodes, Dr. McDonald, whoever that might require that we have conversations with, just to make sure that they still feel like they're able to do the things that they're required to do, and that we expect them to do.
I think that's a good idea, having. They need to have access for certain reasons. There's a reason that we have this program, but if they had to find it by somebody else, even if it was technology or Dr. McDonald or Dr. Rhodes or whoever, so that there's kind of a checks and balances of why these things are being.
Yeah, that's why we need to clean the policy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
Joanne, I think that your recommendation of maybe having, if it's in the instance of a board account, maybe having someone else on the board be present or aware. I think that that would fall in line with some of our other board policies that we have in place. If there is a concern that's brought about the board, that's typically how that would be facilitated, is through board president or vice president or somebody on the board being part of that. So I think there's precedent for that being really appropriate. I also, I would be interested in maybe seeing some numbers of how often it's used, just so that we really have a clear picture of this is what it's used for. Is it a once in a month we're checking something, or is it we need access to this daily and we don't want to be running down to the technology director's office every day? I think some frequency of access would be great for us to know. And I think in the spirit of making data informed decisions, I think that that would be helpful. I also think just having a way to document that probably protects us also as a district against potential allegations that could be made. So if we are accessing somebody's email for any reason, maybe having somewhere that that's documented, this was done on this day, this is why it was done. Probably don't need any specifics of content or anything like that, but just a way to track that information and make sure that it's being used appropriately. Do we have any questions on this matter moving forward that you guys would like me to run through legal counsel or anything like that at this point? I'm just keeping
I think
some
we'll do
notes here.
that when we get to the actual discussion of the policy, when we want to change.
Joanne, did you have examples of ones that you've seen?
I've found some, yeah.
Could you send them to us?
I can.
Yeah.
Email them.
Yeah, send them to Emily and she can
Too soon.
take care of that.
Okay. Yeah, I think having some examples of what other districts have done could be really beneficial for us in seeing that. And honestly, probably some research on other districts and how many people have access to a program like Google Vault. If it is typically just one person in a district, or if there's typically one person and a backup person, or what that looks like. Maybe other districts have 10 people with access. I have no idea, but that would be useful information. Okay. Anything else on this discussion before we move forward to our next agenda item? Okay, we will move on. So at this time, we do have a discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding investigation into alleged staff misconduct on our agenda. The board was able to address some of these concerns within the parameters of the closed session that we had already, but I do want to extend this offer if there's any further discussion or questions that the board has on this specific issue. Minding what we can discuss in public, we are certainly welcome to move back into closed session if anyone feels the need.
No.
Okay, then I think we'll leave this agenda item. Did you need to?
Well, no, I was just gonna ask, were we going to write ideas? Yeah. I thought you could mention that.
Yeah, we can. If we want to discuss maybe our reaction to this concern, we can move back into closed session. Was that something that you wanted to do this evening?
I mean, I think that's a good idea for.
Okay, you are certainly welcome to make that motion for us to move into closed session if you would like to.
Make a motion for us to move into closed
Now you
session.
gotta read the.
You gotta read the statute.
Nice try.
Oh, what do I say though? Okay.
Same thing, personnel matter.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep, same reason.
I move pursuant to section 84-1410 of the reissue of the revised statutes of 1992, known to the Nebraska Public Meetings Law, that the board hold a closed session with the board and legal counsel. So, whatever. For the purpose of discussion of the following items, personnel matters, I further move that this closed session is clearly necessary for the protection of the public interest and for prevention of needless injury to the reputation of an individual, and the strategy sessions with respect to real estate litigation and collective bargaining are specifically authorized by the Nebraska Public Meetings Law.
Do I have a second?
You get that. Mitch seconded.
Thank you. Okay, a roll call vote on the motion to move into closed session, please, Jordan.
Skip Altick,
Nay.
Angela Blazey,
Aye.
Mitch Wagner, Joanne Lundgren,
Aye.
Emily Garrick.
Aye. Okay, board, we will go back to the room. I anticipate
Brent, I will find a ride home if you need to leave.
Okay, Jordan, we came out of closed session at 7:53. All right. I would entertain a motion at this time to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Angela Blazey,
Aye.
Mitch Wagner, Joanne Lundgreen,
Aye.
Emily Garrick,
Aye.
Skip Altick.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you.